Hey, Bad Brothers podcast fans. Welcome to the podcast today. We are bringing the energy, bringing the noise. Thank you for tuning in. I did want to say... Oh, wait, did you like your episode 9.5?
Yeah, because I'm a bad brother and didn't read your text or listen to it when you texted it to me. And I was just driving home from work late at night.
I tried to text Will, since this is our together podcast, if I could post it.
His solo project is Paul McCartney. And, yeah, so I didn't read it or listen to it. And so then I was just driving, and it came up on my car, so I just pressed it. And it was great.
Yeah, what was I going to say about it? I did it at night. Okay, one of the things is I did make a thing in there about, it was the Kanye West one about, that is a little bit true, which is I do think there are things we can do better at and get better on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them is sometimes just energy, because there are, well, sometimes you're coming here from work, which is hard. There's the one episode that we tanked. Mm-hmm. You were like yawning a lot.
Yeah. Well, I won't tell you how much sleep I've had in the last 24 hours.
That's if you really have zero, then it's better. But if you're that in between, don't have anything.
Oh yeah, I'm at the low percentage right now.
Perfect. The filter's off percentage.
Yeah.
But anyways, so there is that, and that is a true thing. Oh well, what I was gonna say is that one of the things that's hard is we are just doing this for us to just hang out and stuff. And sometimes I just want to have a conversation. And that's what I was saying about the episode 8.
Right.
It's like, it was just a conversation. But then sometimes if you think about it as just a fun thing and we just happen to be recording, then the conversation might be a little more low key, because sometimes we are just low key. But then I think, well, if we're going through the effort and putting it out there and saying in some way that sort of represents us and we care if people listen to it, then it's like, then you have to put a little more effort into giving it some oomph, I guess, sometimes.
I am a very low key person in general.
Yeah, I am too. And so it's like hard to sort of figure out that balance sometimes, because I don't want to sit here and necessarily be fake with you or anything. But at the same time, it's like, I guess it could definitely use some energy sometimes. Yeah.
Be more enjoyable.
So,
or easier listening.
In saying all that, when I listened back to, so I recorded that like at 11 o'clock at night or something like that. Yeah. And I was being like real quiet in the bedroom.
Yeah, I could tell.
But I was trying to, I wanted to have energy, but what happened is I had sort of in my head and out loud, because I had read them to Tammy, I had sort of practiced saying them like I was reading them.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to sort of not act it, but sort of, act, read, voiceover. Right. So it sounded like, obviously they were fake, but it's like, I wanted to sort of give it that vibe, because that's what makes it funnier.
Yeah.
So I was kind of giving the low key sort of like, and I'm going to do as if I'm reading it. But then I did that the whole, at the beginning too, where I was just kind of giving it the monotone sort of.
NPR.
Yeah. So it didn't come out as perfectly as I thought, but I had fun doing it, and I thought it was funny. So
now I need to come up with one. I laughed out loud in the car to DJ Dench.
That I think my favorite one was just the Bill Gates is the one I thought of first, and I put it first.
Yeah.
But I like the Hillary Clinton one too.
Yeah, I was actually looking more forward to who said it than the actual thing. Once I realized what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. That was fun to do. So if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to episode 9.5. It's only 12 minutes long. It's worth it. It's worth a listen to. And I heard something today. Speaking of doing this together as a fun thing, I heard this today. I listened to the Armchair Expert.
Oh, yes.
And they had Tom Brady on. I don't always listen to that podcast. It depends on the guest.
Same.
It depends on the guest. They had Tom Brady on, who I actually don't like that much because but more because he's always very like political when he talks about things. Not political as in talks about politics, but careful in like what he says.
Very PC and like
and then
unauthentic.
Exactly.
Inauthentic, unauthentic.
Inauthentic, I think. And then, so then I kind of wondered, like, is he going to be cool on this?
Yeah. Because
he actually, for as inauthentic as he is, he has this cool clip from the Super Bowl where it's like some kid, you know, all the reporters gather around. They do that pool thing. All the reporters.
The day before thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they ask a kid, was like on his dad's shoulders, or I don't know if it was a reporter or how whatever. And the kid goes like, "Who's your hero?" or something. And he goes,
he said himself.
I am my own hero.
I could be your hero, baby.
He started to say his dad, and he got choked up. And
so that seemed authentic.
And it seemed authentic. And it was just like
but the kid was planted there for him to have that authentic moment.
Yeah, maybe. But it probably caught him off guard because it was a kid asking. If it was like Joe Schmo reporter.
Yeah.
Then he probably would have just said, "Hey, my dad's my hero," but I don't know. So he has that clip. Anyways, he was actually really good on the podcast, and it was cool to listen to. But he said something that reminded me because Dak Shepard asked, like, what do you think you've missed out on making this big commitment to football and being so disciplined in your life and being such a competitor and now having a career that's so long?
Right.
And he said he misses out on the family side of things, not so much his immediate family, but he mentioned his brothers and saying, like, sometimes the people in your life, you can kind of think like, oh, they'll always be there because they're my family. I mean, you can do that with your spouse and your kids too. But for him, it just happened to be like, besides his, you know, nuclear family.
Oh, okay. I was trying to find it.
Besides his, like, you know, wife and kids, that next ring out of people who your parents and your siblings and maybe your grandparents, close cousins or something that you sort of can take for granted because you think, oh, they'll always be there. They're my family, you know?
Yeah.
But then, you know, maybe don't spend as much time with them or whatever happens during the football season. And I thought that was cool. And I was thinking something not cool that he missed out on, but, you know, a good thing to think about.
Yeah.
And I was thinking on the way here, I mean, this is probably the only thing that I really, you know, cut time out of, you know, spending time with my kids. You know, I don't go out at night to just do anything.
Right.
You know, I go to the grocery store and if it's a year when I go to Cambodia, I do that. But besides that, I'm not really
going anywhere.
I'm not gone from them unless I have to be, really. And maybe that's good or bad, whatever. But I think it's good. I see it as like I already spend so much time away from them because of work, and I have a longer commute that it's like I want to spend my couple hours I get with them. But, whenever we record, I do come over here. Most everything, sometimes I would get together with Matt and go to Spiros, which looking for a Spiros sponsorship, because this is Port Orchard's finest podcast. Mm-hmm. We would enjoy the blessing of a free pizza in trade for some advertising to about 6 people, but I think that pays off.
Oh yeah.
Even when we go out like on a Friday or whatever, I'd say, well, once the kids go to bed or whatever. So, I do come over here, and I probably said it last time, but it has been really fun.
Oh yeah. There was some, I don't remember who said it. I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk, if you follow him. He was talking to someone, and it was kind of about the same thing, like family and spending time. Because his whole thing is like, you have so much more time in your life, and people are always like feeling like, oh, I'm 23 and I don't have my life figured out, And one thing they were talking about is like, how often, like, how old are your parents? And this person's parents were like pretty old, and so he's like, let's say they have 10 years left or whatever, because they were like 75 or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Let's say they have like 10 years left. How often do you see them? And they were like across the country, so I see them like twice a year. And so he's like, okay, so you're going to see him 20 more times.
Yeah.
And when you think of it like that, you're like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
It's like a whole different, instead of saying, oh, I've got 10 years left with them.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh, you got 20 more visits.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. It's hard. I was just thinking, I can't remember how it came up recently, but I was like, people don't really, maybe I was just talking about all this COVID situation and like with their kids and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say this, and some of this is just because people are more mobile now than they have ever been. And it's just the nature of working. But, some of these parents who don't have a lot of help with their kids or extended family right now, say both parents are working. Yeah, both parents are working, and their kids are supposed to be going to school, but, school is at home or on the computer. You can't just take them to the grocery store with you. That's where you work, or from house to house as an electrician or something like that. It's like, what are you supposed to do with your kids? And normally you might, have a grandma or a great
meme
aunt
that was like, you can't leave your kids at home alone. And it was like parents in the 90s, and they have the shifty eyes, like,
yeah. And I think people just, if they're looking for a job or looking for a place to live, I don't think people prioritize family that much
it's like
anymore.
Every other culture, it's like they prioritize family almost. Well, especially like, I don't know, like the farther east you go, like in Europe to Asia, it's like the more and more families involved.
Yeah.
Well, and south and everywhere. It's like pretty much just us. The farther you get from us, the more family there is.
Yeah.
And then like they're like taking care of each other. They're living on like a compound,
Mm-hmm.
And they're all living together, taking care of each other and helping each other. And I think there's a lot of benefits in that. Definitely.
Yeah.
So when are we moving in together?
Yeah. So
when are we starting a compound?
Well, Karen is this is Karen's senior year. She's gonna move out. So then, or maybe she'll stay in, and we'll buy a place with 10 bedrooms.
You're gonna move to Texas?
Yeah.
Marfa.
What's that?
It's like a middle of nowhere town where that Prada store is.
Oh, yeah.
Where there's just like the desert and then this Prada store.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Texas, you can find these 10-bedroom houses for like $100,000.
Oh, yeah.
But it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. You know what I think about all the time?
Hashtag Waco.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Like, I was going to say something about David Koresh or something, but then I don't know anything.
Is that him? Is that the Waco one?
I think so. But then I didn't know if he like was like raping kids or something. So I didn't want to say it because
I'm pretty sure
I didn't know the history of it, of why.
Well, I watched the
they burned him
Netflix
alive.
show, so I know everything about it because I watched the show. So yeah, he was definitely like 16-year-old girls. Like, well, his whole thing was, according to the show, he was the only one that could have sex.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was his
classic cult leader behavior.
It was his burden, you know, because if you were abstinent, then you were like holier, and it was his burden to have sex and propagate the cult.
That's such a burden. Well, I'm not good. Well, I was gonna make jokes about it, but then if there's children involved, but let's say children were not involved, and I mean,
yeah,
isn't that just the way it goes?
Oh yeah. There was that other. What was that? Well, it's kind of it. I feel like with cults, it either goes two ways. It's either like that, you know, very strict, or it's like everyone does it with everyone.
Yeah,
Like,
but even then,
like
there has to be a
hippie summer of love.
But
yeah, but then they want to get with the head guy.
That's not really a cult. Yeah,
they want to get with the head guy and be closer to him and whatever.
Yeah,
like the Wild Wild Country. Those guys, I forget what they called themselves. Some Indian name down in Oregon. When they like took over the Dalles.
I don't know that much about
what
sex cults.
You need to get on your cult game. Go on Netflix, watch Wild Wild Country.
Because they just came out with one, and I'm probably not going to watch this either, but it's like a weird story that Navixum or whatever. I don't know.
Nixium.
I don't know how you say it.
I watched a documentary about that prior to this one.
That's the one that had the Smallville actress.
Yeah.
That was recruiting people.
People branding themselves with this little brand that ended up being the guy's initials.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they had to do stuff for him, right? Or to him, or with him.
Oh, yeah.
And
it was all like lots of like actresses and business women and you know.
And then it's like about Gandhi that just reminded me. And actually I heard something about him today because when you said burden, like he used to have like what we consider underage girls sleep with him. Not sleep. Well, sleep in the same. Yes, sleep in the same facilities as him. By facilities, I mean
bedroll.
As to sort of test his resolve.
Oh, and so did he pass?
I don't know. But it was a little sketchy. It's like
in my brain.
Hey, by the way, I really need some people to come.
Yeah.
And just be naked around me, but nobody can watch and nobody can check on us.
In my brain, there's Gandhi, but also with Gandhi, and everything my brain connects with Gandhi is mixed with the Indian guy from Street Fighter. With the stretchy arms.
Was his name also Gandhi? No, they wouldn't name. They wouldn't name a character.
No, it was called something else. But he just had the skinny Indian.
Dhalsim.
Skinny Indian guy vibe.
Is that what it is?
I'll give it a goog.
Dhalsim. Street Fighter. That must be what it came up. Okay, I'm gonna look up Gandhi right now. Gandhi.
let's not go too much
Wiki.
into sex calls, but
No, but it's just a thing about Gandhi. I'm just gonna see if I can jump to. I mean,
it is Dhalsim.
I'm gonna look at legacy
His fighting style.
biography.
The mysteries of yoga.
Gandhi's fighting style. Just read some stuff about Dhalsim, and
We'll say
we'll
it's Gandhi.
think Gandhi in our
Okay,
heads.
so in your mind, think Gandhi. His name was taken from an Indian restaurant in Osaka near Capcom's office. What else? He was depicted as having pupilless eyes. His build is of that of a normal man who exercises and weight trains regularly, except for the fact that his abdomen and waist appear to be of proportion of and emaciated.
Perfect.
He wears torn saffron shorts as his only clothing attire, with matching wrist and ankle bands and a necklace of shrunken human skulls. He has 3 colored stripes adorning his head, and in the Street Fighter Alpha series, he wears a turban that's removed before battle.
Famously nonviolent.
But his fighting style is yoga-based style. He can stretch his arms, legs, abdomen, and even his neck to great lengths to make him a decent long-range hand-to-hand fighter.
But he gave it all up
Who knew?
to secure Indian independence.
Who knew Gandhi?
Oh, man.
That was a game. Speaking of Nintendo 64 games, Tony Hawk Pro Skater Remake 1 and 2 came out last week, within the last 7 days.
Sorry. Street Fighter was. I was still over
Street
here.
Fighter was on Nintendo 64 too. I mean, as well. But more, we had it on Super Nintendo
Yeah.
and arcades.
And they came out with it. What did you say?
I transitioned to Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh. Yeah. I love Street Fighter. Street Fighter was my favorite game to play at the arcade. I could just stand there all day.
Yeah, Street Fighter, I don't know. I like Tekken, and a lot of people don't like it.
Julia, weigh in.
Julia, weigh in on your
Tekken was like
fighting games.
Tekken, because of the graphics and stuff, it was just a little bit slower, or maybe like purposefully.
They were less. It was less. It was more like flowy and less like punch these things in for a combo to do this. It was like it all like flowed together.
The Street Fighter buttons, the button was immediate.
Yeah,
it was just like a little flick. Whereas like if you did that in Tekken, it would kind of be like a realistic timing.
Start
like,
a process. Yeah.
Okay. I'll come back. I'll write a report for next week on Gandhi's situation.
Full book review. And we're back.
Yeah. Sorry.
Shout out Rick Glassman.
Okay, if you really want to, I just have no idea what's up with that picture.
I was trying to remember where this picture is.
This is also
Claim Jumper, giant chair, maybe.
That's actually what I think it is Claim Jumper, but
there's a parking lot in the background.
Yeah. This is one of the things about the podcast. I think we need to cut down on picture talk about time, but this picture is just too good.
Oh, yeah. And note, I have a broken arm at this point because I got rollerblades.
You do?
Yeah. You can see a small purple cast, which actually went from my hand all the way up to my shoulder.
I literally do not remember.
Wasn't
you
allowed
breaking
to
your arm.
extend my elbow. I got rollerblades from my neighbor, and they were like the cheapest plastic wheel rollerblades, and I tried to go to the old Jackson Park skate park prior to the South Kitsap Regional Park skate park.
South Kitsap Regional Park.
Yeah. Poor planning.
That's
Poor
the most
city
annoying
planning.
thing in the world.
And I I like took forever just to get like on top of a ramp, let alone do anything else. Because I wasn't that good. I was like good 4th grade or 3rd grade. I like finally got up on the ramp. And then when I went down, since I'd never done that before in my life, any sort of incline, instead of like leaning into it, and going it down, my feet just went out from under me. Caught myself with my arm. Broken radius. My right arm. Just below the wrist. Full clean break. And Mom was like, no more rollerblades, no skateboards, no nothing.
I never had a skateboard. I had rollerblades in, well, it must have been
rollerblades
in 4th or 5th grade. I did, because we lived in Longview, and our little, where our house was, is that little development. It was a circle, and I was like timing myself going around the loop, but also
like Apollo Ono.
Yes, Anton Apollo Ono.
Whatever happened to him?
I don't know. Just wearing a bandana and a soul patch somewhere. And one time I tried to carry 2 pumpkins, one in each hand.
Already difficult.
By the stems, and I fell. And if I didn't break my tailbone, it was
bruised.
Yeah, badly.
Bone bruise.
And I don't think I ever told Mom and Dad because I was too embarrassed. But I did not remember you breaking your arm. I don't know.
Because it was like within 3 days of... Oh, you don't remember me breaking my arm and being in a cast for 6 weeks? My whole arm?
I don't remember.
Sheesh.
Dab.
I was
the original dab.
Dabbing. And for whatever reason, I chose purple as a cast color.
It's royal color.
It was.
I also... Is that your only break? Yeah.
No.
What?
Collarbone.
Oh, yes, obviously. Yes. I should have gone back in my... I do remember that one. I don't remember, but I do know that about.
I don't remember at all because I was 1 or less, and I fell out of a tiny baby chair and broke my collarbone.
Like when you said, my cast is on, and still right now, just zero recollection.
Oh, I remembered itchy, stinky cast.
But the collarbone, I at least remember seeing that from pictures because you had the little sling.
Yeah.
The little baby sling. And I'm sort of, yeah. But I also fell when I was younger, but I think I was 3.
Did you break something?
I fell off those stools that Grandma Norma had.
Mm-hmm.
Broke my arm.
You broke your arm?
Yeah.
How did I not know you broke your arm?
Well, you weren't born yet.
I know, but I feel like I would know about that.
There's another time I broke my arm.
What?
Yeah.
You've broken your arm twice?
Yeah.
I feel like I don't even know you.
I think it was the same arm, too. Because I don't remember about the... Actually, I don't remember which arm I broke. I think it was my left one.
Did you even break your arm?
Yeah, I was... There was this little, like, rock quarry thing down from our house in Kazi.
Mm-hmm.
And... Were you born by the time we left there? No.
I was born the year we left there.
Yeah. And so there was this like rock quarry kind of place.
Mm-hmm.
And you just like went down one side and up the other, and it was cool because like a giant ramp essentially. And I was going down and down. It probably
on a bike? Or?
Yeah, on a bike. And probably in my head, in my head
40 miles an hour.
It's 100 feet tall, and I was going 40 miles an hour. It's probably 10 feet tall. Anyways, at the bottom was this. We'd only done it a few times. No, it was like a hole. Because there was like different angles where you could like drop in and go. And
it was a pit.
Yeah, it was a pit.
Okay.
And I picked the wrong route in the pit.
Yeah.
Or wasn't paying attention, or both. And I hit the hole on the bottom, and it was like I can still think about it to this day. It felt like
I can't believe
like
I've never heard this before.
when people say like everything happened in slow motion.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it was, because I was just like through there. All of a sudden, I'm off the bike because you're going fast, and then all of a sudden,
the bike stops.
And no, the bike went up in the air, but then I went up in the air even further.
More. Yeah.
And we were like going parallel in the air, and when I came down, my arm was just like this, kind of under me, and my arm landed on the crossbar as I fell, and just.
I didn't know if you would have asked me 4 minutes ago if you ever.
It wasn't that long.
If
but
you ever
close.
If you ever broke a bone, if I thought you ever broke a bone, I would say no.
Well, I did.
You broke your arm twice. Anything else?
No. Broke my heart.
Did you ever have crutches?
No, never crutches.
For some reason, my brain is thinking crutches.
Although when Poppy had cancer, I used to go. I was like a pro at riding around in in a wheelchair at his like the care facility place where he was, because it was he passed away in the summer, and when I had got out of school, and I think he was there when I was on spring break. Anyways, a bunch, and with Grandma Norma, and I would just go around the halls again. I would just time trial in the hallway.
Do laps.
And it got a good, like balance, getting the front wheels up, balancing, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I never had crutches.
I'm basically Travis Pastrana. Is that his name?
It is. But speaking of Travis Pastrana and Nitro Circus, there's a guy in part of Nitro Circus, Aaron, quote unquote, Wheels, who is in a wheelchair. Yeah. He does like backflips and all sorts of stuff on the mega ramp.
Yeah, I've seen that guy.
I follow him on the gram.
Wait, sorry. I've seen that guy. I'm bringing the energy today. That's a great story, Will.
Nitro Circus. You were right. I was fading. I was like,
okay. I do have something we can talk about.
Oh my gosh. Are we recording?
Yeah, we are recording.
Okay. Hit me with it.
We're almost done with this up because we have an ad today.
Okay. Hit me.
You're like, maybe not. Wait, one of these is going to hit one day.
Hit me with it.
I like them. But
I didn't say I didn't like them. I just never know what they are.
Yeah, don't tell Will ahead of time. Oh, how do you not know what they are if you just had the copy in your pocket?
You're the one that prints it out.
I printed it out. You put it in your pocket. Now you're giving it to me.
Yeah. Didn't want to lose it.
You know how the internet is for fantasies?
Oh, do I ever?
Fantasy football.
Starting it today.
You are?
Yeah, but anyway.
Are you starting it on internetbetting.wa.gov/BBP?
Oh, close.
You could have got 20% off your fees or something.
Ooh.
Or something I hadn't thought of.
20%
what would
bonus?
you get 20% off of?
20% bonus on your first deposit?
Exactly. They are going to seed the purse an extra 20% of anybody who signs up with promo code BBP of all fantasy football drafts under $10,000.
What if that type of football isn't your fantasy?
What kind of football would be your fantasy?
I don't know. European football, futsal, lingerie football league, XFL.
Okay. First of all, if your fantasy is lingerie football league,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson,
you need to check yourself because that ain't no fantasy. That's scary.
Oh yeah, they lay each other out.
That's scary. And if your fantasy is, if your fantasy of a woman,
Canadian Football League,
if your fantasy of a woman is her covered up,
someone,
is her covered up in,
small shoulder pads, swimsuit, helmet.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean,
here's a woman. I'd really like to imagine her in battle armor.
Rule 34. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
The supposedly the rules of the internet, and Rule 34 is if it exists, there's a porn version of it.
Oh yeah.
So someone out there created the lingerie football league.
I know.
Is this episode gonna have the little E next to it?
You know, people say you shouldn't kink shame, but I am.
Fantasy lingerie football kink shaming.
Yeah, should not be anyone's fantasy. But I was thinking today, you know, I wasn't thinking this today. I'm reading this off the thing that you gave me.
Yes,
that I printed off. But you know, the thing I like about watching sports. What's your favorite sport to watch?
Football.
Football?
American football.
Yeah, I would say probably football is actually, I don't know. I love watching golf.
Don't get me started. This is the worst one to watch.
Oh, love watching golf.
Yeah, because I come home from church on Sunday afternoon, have lunch.
Yes.
Golf is on.
Yes.
I can't watch TV. I can't play video games.
Yes.
And it's a lot of...
Okay, but why can you not play video games? Because there's three TVs in the house.
So-and-so comes up to the... Because for whatever reason, on Sundays, they decided to watch stuff in the living room where the Nintendo was.
That's true.
And so it's like, so-and-so's come up to the 17. And then clapping. And then... Oh, it's a little to the left.
But you've played a little golf.
I like playing golf,
but
I don't like watching it.
I think what I love about watching golf, besides it is sort of idyllic. Maybe I actually do like the pace of it, but it's such a difficult sport technically, and maybe I just miss out on all the technical parts of the other sports.
Maybe if you suck.
It's such a difficult sport technically that how good they are is just insane.
Oh yeah, whenever they do the extra stuff like the trick shots and stuff like on Sports Center or whatever, like it's not actually during the events.
Yeah.
And they can do all these crazy things, and that's when I'm like, "Oh geez, yeah, they really do know this like so well."
Maybe I'm just not as close to the other sports athletically. Football.
Right.
Basketball. Those are the other two sports I like watching, and a little bit of tennis.
I don't like watching basketball that much. I feel like it's just like repetitive.
But those people are just so much freaks of nature athletically that it's almost like, yeah. But
yeah, I think the more you know about it, the more interesting it is.
Yeah.
That's why I want to figure out hockey before Seattle hockey starts.
Yeah. But one thing I do like about watching sports is win or lose, you're still a guy who's sitting there. You love your family. You love your kids. I don't like when people, their team loses and they're in a bad mood all day.
Yeah. That's the worst.
Or they're in a good mood. I don't even care if you're in a good mood. That irritates me too. If you're in a good mood when your team wins.
When it controls their whole life.
Any part of your life. It's just, and I don't like the local part of it. I mean, I get into it. If it's a team, if Seattle's going to the Super Bowl,
I'm in.
I'll paint my chest.
Oh.
Maybe.
What are you going to paint it?
I'll just paint it.
This orange.
You ever heard of a little thing called the Mona Lisa?
Starry night. Little swirls around your nipples.
Yeah. And
or the scream. And then it's like your belly button or something.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I was trying to think. I couldn't think of anything good.
Or some Rubenesque lady with your...
Yeah, I don't know. Why does he keep saying Rubenesque? I don't even know what that means.
You don't know what that means?
No.
Oh.
I never even heard it before.
Really?
It's a real word?
Yeah, it's
not a Theo Von word?
No, it's a type of art, which maybe the guy's last name is Ruben. I'm not that
but
up on it. Anyway, continue.
So we're getting away from the copy here. And
this
anyways,
is the longest ad.
what I like about sports is win or lose. That's just it. It's over.
Okay. Quick note. Rubenesque, adjective, characteristic or reminiscent of the paintings of Rubens. That's the guy. Last name Rubens, especially with reference to his voluptuous female nudes.
That's
A Rubenesque woman reclines on her chaste lounge.
Pee Wee Herman. That's Rubens, right? Paul Rubens.
I have no idea. Before my time.
Sort of, barely before my time.
I'm just old enough to remember him with the movie theater.
Yeah.
Situation.
Basically what I'm saying about sports, no skin off my back. Please don't show me examples of Rubenesque.
What? Come on. It's art.
Yeah, it is art. Anything art is fine with me. But here's the deal. If you go to internetbetting.wa.gov/BBP for your 20% pot seed, not that pot seed, fantasy pot seed, you can, for the price of whatever, you can go through fantasy sports, never win, be involved in another thing you're awful at.
Oh, yeah.
And remind yourself once again, even though you've been avoiding it every day of your life, yet somehow can't, what a big loser you are.
So this is my idea for this year, fantasy football. See what you think about this. No draft preference. Just let it ride. Let it auto draft.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. What am I going to... I'm not that into it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, oh, no, I shouldn't take Patrick Mahomes in the third round, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have the expertise, so I'm just going to let it ride.
Right.
I'm like number 8 in the line, which means I'm like number 4 on the second round.
But then pretty soon ESPN will draft you like 7 quarterbacks.
This is, and this one I'm on now, these people did CBS Sports. I had to download a new app. I had to make a new account, and it was horrible. And I don't know where anything is. I need ESPN or Yahoo Sports.
I don't know.
CBS? What's next? They're going to start giving me, I don't know, Trump ads or something?
No. CSI Fantasy Football.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know CBS anymore. I don't have regular old television.
NCIS Fantasy.
Oh. Well, I think they did that with
Las Vegas.
Nope. The show called The League. It's a show about fantasy football.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either. But another segment of the show is you asking me if I've seen something.
I know. I need to add you on my HBO Max because Lovecraft Country. Let me tell you about this.
Wait. Let's save it for the next episode.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
So tell me next week, okay?